Hey guys, welcome to episode 6 of my Blank Fitness Journey podcast. It is Megan, me, and we've got a good friend, Joe Vallette, coming on today. So Megan and I are going to get caught up and then we'll bring Joe on. Megan Davis, how are you?
A lot better than I was this time last week.
A lot better than you were this time last week. So sickness ravaged our house. We are mostly recovered though, so we're all good. We're back to training, and so Megan is able to hold the whole household together while I'm crying in the corner and taking lots of naps. So I appreciate that about her greatly. Megan, tell us what you've got for our nutrition tip this week.
Yeah, for our nutrition tip this week, I was thinking about a question that we commonly hear, and that is, how much should I eat? So that's a very individual thing, right? But something we try to teach all of our members to do is to think about a hunger scale. So if you've never heard of something like a hunger scale before, you're thinking about a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is you're absolutely starving and 10 is you're stuffed. And so we try to get people to start thinking about, before they eat a meal, check in with themselves and rate their hunger on that scale. The ideal time to start eating is around a 3 or a 4, because that way you're starting to feel hungry, but you're not at the place where you're going to eat everything in sight, right? It's a little bit easier to make good choices at that point. And then during the meal, it's a good time to check in with yourself and gauge your fullness as you're eating, so that you can stop right around a 7, where you're feeling satisfied but not overly stuffed, right? So, when you're trying to learn this feeling of hunger and fullness, we have people that, use things like timers and other symptoms other than just hunger in their stomach. It can be, things like fatigue, anxiety, they're moody, they're not sleeping well, they're feeling a lot of stress. Those are all signs that somebody's under eating. And when someone is trying to learn what feeling full feels like, some of those signs can be that they're no longer thinking about food all the time. They have energy, or they're sleeping better and feeling less of those other things like anxiety or stress. So those can be signs that people use to kind of help learn what fullness feels like for them. So that is one of the ways that we help people learn how to figure out how much they should be eating, is using a hunger scale.
That's great. So I guess for our listeners, the main ways that they can go ahead and initiate this for themselves, if they're thinking that maybe using a hunger scale would be a good way for them to become more aware of when they should be eating. You said focus in on those kind of different times when, like, you're preparing to eat, or like the number that's going to make you decide, okay, yes, now's a good time to eat. And then checking back in with yourself to see when you're achieving that level of fullness that's appropriate to go ahead and call it cuts on the meal, right?
Yeah, that's it. That's how you use it. It's nice and simple. It's something that you can do at each meal, and you start learning your own body's hunger signals and fullness signals.
That's awesome. And, I think that one recurring theme that we're going to see with Megan's nutrition tips is this idea of mindfulness with your food, because as a former and secretly deep down still husky kid, I love food, and there's lots of times that I'll just eat because I love eating, and it's like no longer mindful. Like I find myself eating something. I was like, was I hungry? I don't even like this that much. Like, why am I doing it? And so that hunger scale kind of forces us to remove ourselves from the situation or the food that we're eating, and like actually intentionally think about it. And there's a lot of times I think that we'll realize I'm not eating because I'm hungry, or I've overate because I wasn't paying attention to my hunger scale. So I think that's really good, Megan.
Yeah.
So today we've got Joe Vallette, one of our dear friends who is our neighbor, a mentor, friend. He watches our kids. He lets our dogs out. He sells us his house. He does all kinds of things. So, welcome to the show, Joe.
Thank you guys for having me.
Absolutely.
I expect it to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's going to be a blast. You can guarantee that when Joe is doing something that it's going to be a good time. So I'm looking forward to it. Joe, the question that we always ask to start people off, I know your story, but I'd love to hear that answer to your blank fitness journey. So give us the big picture. What is your blank for your fitness journey?
I think your fitness journey for me is never ending. And when I use the word never ending, it's because I feel like sometimes we all set goals, and goals are great in fitness, but it's never ending. So there's always got to be that continuation. And for me personally, I feel like it's been 20 years of fairly consistent. I won't say consistent because the last couple of years since COVID have not been good, but I'm back in the gym. This is week 5 days a week. Might have missed one in there, and really enjoying it again and having that fun again. Because when we fell out of going, me and my wife, Monica, when we fell out of going, I almost got back to that lazy space of it's easy to sit on the couch and do nothing, but it's also easy to go once you're having fun. And then you look forward to going and you want to be there. It's just so much enjoyment coming from it, but you can get trapped. There's the people that I always say that are real athletes. They'll just go by themselves in the corner. Then there's people like me. I'm there for the social aspect. I'm there for and this is a part of it, but it's definitely to be around people and to smile and laugh and joke and have a good time. So
you cut out there. So VAs cut that. So I think you cut out whenever you were talking about being there for the social aspect. So if you could repeat that.
So basically, again, VAs cut that. I enjoy the social aspect of going to the gym. I really enjoy the people, the socializing, the camaraderie. I enjoy the fitness a lot. But if I didn't have that other part, I wouldn't be there. So that's what I need to be going. So.
Sure. And it sounds like you have found a joy beyond just going and working out. And I think that's something that we've kind of talked about in the past a little bit, or we've touched on that with a few other people. But like, you enjoy going because you like hanging out with your friends and you like chatting and you like, encouraging people and talking trash to people and, all the fun things that come with that. So that's awesome. Never ending. Have you ever gotten to the point where you're like, I'm not going back to the gym?
Just finding that rhythm again. Having 3 kids wasn't the easiest, and making it the priority, because the truth is, as we all know, if you make it one of your highest priorities, you'll get it in, you'll get it done. But if you start letting the excuses come in, then all of a sudden it's not the priority and you're not getting in, you're not regular, and then it just falls apart. And it's really hard to gain that consistency unless you put in that consistent effort. I know you guys you'll say 3+ days a week. For me, it's really 5 is the goal. If you miss one, whatever. But I want to be in the gym 5 days a week. If I need to go a little lighter because it's a day where I don't want to, maybe I'm sore from a workout, but I need to be there. For me, it's the repetition of going and making it a priority, making it a part of my routine. That's really where I'm most consistent, having the most fun, getting the most results from it, not necessarily physically the results, but just being happy and enjoying life. It's definitely been a part of my life for the last 20 years. It's created friendships. I don't have hobbies. As you guys know, I work, I have kids, so it's work or family. I don't golf, I don't hunt, I don't fish. I have probably never done any of those 3 once. So I don't gamble, I don't play cards, I don't do anything. So fitness became my hobby and my joy, and CrossFit specifically in the past 6 years.
Yeah. So I guess catch us up on your fitness journey, like leading up to CrossFit, and then, what CrossFit has been like for you, and then kind of your entry point into TriForce.
Sure. So, growing up, I was just a kid that loved to play sports. I was a sports junkie, watching it, turn the TV on. If I was alone, it was the TV, and, being an only child, I spent a fair amount of time watching TV. So if there was sports on, I was watching it, playing with friends after school. But at a pretty young age, I made life helped me make a decision that I needed to go to work. So by the time I was 15, I was pretty much working a full-time job while in school, but still finding some space. By the time I was 18, I probably stopped moving. When I say stopped moving, I mean stop moving. So at that point, I probably weighed about 180 pounds, which I'd give a leg right now to be 180, but I thought I was heavy. And then between that and probably 25, I put on 12 pounds a year. So I woke up one day and I was probably 255. And I remember going up 2 flights of stairs in my mom's house and literally feeling like I was going to die, like just so out of breath and out of shape. And I just couldn't believe that I was in such bad shape. And me and my wife, my girlfriend, we moved 4 hours away from family, and she had talked about going to a gym. And I kind of told her she should go on her own because it shouldn't be the two of us going, which, as you know, everything we do is the two of us. But I pushed her to go by herself, and she went. And about a month later, I started going, and probably spent a couple of years just sitting on a treadmill or sitting on an elliptical, and some weight came off, but not really enjoying it, not really feeling great. Then probably a few years in, there was P90X, and I did a P90X class, and it was early in the morning, and man, I went from 215 to 185 and felt like $1 million. And that was my beginning for group fitness. I was like, I'm in. All the sweaty lifters grunting on each other, picking up big weights. I'll be in the back room in the back row with the ladies picking up the other dumbbells. I was good. So from that forward on, it was group fitness. And we went through one of our local gyms where we were doing all sorts of different things. We made friends that we still have today. That was great. We kind of fell out of that after a couple of years. We did TRX. Some really good friends. A friend of mine was a trainer, and me, I always find my way to be very involved, with the ownership and how things go, because I enjoy the flow of how businesses run. So I was involved with helping and involved and advice and kind of what I do in my life. And we were there a while. And then I was early 40s, and we had talked about CrossFit. And, I hate to be repetitive of the last 5 people, but it's the same story. Don't go, you're going to hurt yourself and all this stuff. And we walked into CrossFit and we never walked out. So, and I'm an emotional guy. So if you push me hard, I can cry talking about CrossFit. So, we walked in that day and there was a girl there, and she was just telling me, you're doing everything wrong. And I was like, who is this girl? And the time that I was in New York, she became one of my dear friends, phenomenal athlete. And we just it was a great group of people. We bonded, and we were there for a couple of years. We were very involved, helped that business grow from probably 30 members up to 90 members. And when I say helped, literally helped, bringing friends in. And the guy who ran it kind of had I thought he was a pretty good coach, because the people that we went with, like that founding group, were really involved, loved CrossFit, geeked out on CrossFit, Instagram, knew the people, knew the movements, sending each other videos, really enjoyed it. And we did that for a couple of years. And then he kind of had, I wouldn't say a nervous breakdown, but he finally got what he wanted, which was this group of members, but he didn't know how to run a business. He wasn't good with people. And there was a big falling out. And one of our friends was a coach, and he was really rude to her, and she couldn't go back. And so we were in a community that had no other boxes. And we sat around with about 25 people and had a meeting in a friend's house and said, what do we do? We have nowhere to go. Do we go to the Y and try to do our own CrossFit classes? And that wasn't going to work. We were going to get thrown out quickly. So we decided to open a CrossFit box. And so we had the meeting with 25 people, and I kind of led that meeting largely. And my first statement was, who's willing to put money in and lose it? Okay. If you can't raise your hand, you're out. And then we dwindled down, and it ended up with myself and my wife and 2 friends who were phenomenal people. And so really it was the 3 ladies, it was their business. I was kind of like a driving force behind. So while things were getting laid out, I found the space. I put like $20,000 on my Amex card. I knew I wasn't going to have it back in time, and my cash flow was a little tight that day. So I knew it might be a month or two late, but it was fine. Had the space, built the space out. We went in as 3 partners, and I laid out extra money that the girls didn't even know about because I wanted it right. We had nice bathrooms. It was a really nice space. And so we got L1s, me and Monica, they did. And that was a box of probably 50 people. And I would say at least 10, maybe more had L1s. So I'm not sure how many boxes have a percentage where 20% of their members have L1s. So it was a lot of fun. Everybody was just so involved. And we always dreamt of moving down to Florida. So timing just clicked with a bunch of things. And because of that, I looked at Monica. I said, if we don't leave now, I don't know that we're going to get out of here anytime soon. And what I meant was a decade. So it was like, we got to go. So we had to have that meeting with them. And they were like, we kind of said, do you want us to stay involved? And they said, just go. We'll deal with it. So we did. And in the process of moving down to Florida, that was 2008, November 2018, we came down November, December, January, February. We considered the whole state, St. Johns County, like you, with children. The schools brought us here. It's a thriving community, great schools. We checked out a bunch of boxes. We dropped into a few of them. Knew what we were looking for. You know, I always say, find your box. You know, and what I mean by find your box is not every box is the perfect fit for everyone. Find your box. And we came in and Monica met Alyssa. And 3 years later, she's one of my closest friends. She just texted me that she just clean and jerked 190 off blocks. I think it was blocks. But so, and then we met you guys and, you know, it was that took off from there. And I'm grateful for meeting TriForce because it really fit what we were looking for. I mean, it's definitely evolved. And, you know, I was always a driving force and kind of poking and saying, hey, what about this? And what about this? And what about this? But I think I do that in my life as a natural thing. And that's how we ended up at TriForce. And I guess we couldn't be happier. And I'm so glad to be back, like just regular. It's so amazing to have that joy of just having fun. Because the thing that I noticed is when you're young, you play, right? When you're a kid, you play. You know, you say I was a husky kid, but think about that husky kid. He loved to play. You like to play. And it's the fun, you know, it's having a good time. It's socializing, it's playing, it's teasing and joking. You know, I'll tell guys that are 25 years younger than me, you know, I could lift almost as much as you and I'm old enough to be your father. You know, that's just me busting chops and having a good time. So it's just so nice to be back in a box and just have those feelings again of just being happy to be there. So.
Yeah. So you now have accountability with the whole world that it says, if you ever drop off again, then everybody has the right to harass you and get you back in the gym.
100%. Because I do that to other people. There's people that I've done it to on a regular basis. Yeah, of course.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Joe, I think that it's great having you part of the community. Like you said, I think it is really obvious that you're there for the workout. You love CrossFit, but it's very obvious that you love the people that are there. And sure. I always laugh because I know that you are one of those people that, because you do love the people that are there, you can dive right in with people. And I always love seeing, I know I've benefited from, you dive right in with us. You dive right in with everyone. And I do think that, you know, you and Monica add so much to our community, and it's helped us appreciate that aspect of workouts, right? Like you love the workout, you love where you work out, and you love the people that you work out with. And I think that you've really brought that and shown us a new level of that. So it's kind of cool to hear you talk through that a little bit more.
Yeah. You know, for me, there's almost, this is a crazy thought, but it's almost like a guilt factor. Like when I'm in the box, like I'm not necessarily there for myself. I enjoy seeing other people getting a PR. And I'm not back in that space, probably just because I'm just not feeling fit enough yet. But like when I feel good, that's when you know I'm really loving CrossFit. Like I'm going over to somebody else and I'm telling them to put weight on the bar and, you know, trying to help someone or support someone or push someone or the coaches may be busy and there's a new person and maybe they can't get over, or there is a new person. You know how many times I've back squatted with the person who maybe is back squatting half of what I back squat? Because I don't care about my workout that much. I care about people having fun. And you know what? I need people. So if there's one person in my class, I'm not a happy person. So I need people to be enjoying themselves. So maybe I'm doing it for my own selfish reasons, but when people are there, I want people to feel welcome. That's what CrossFit is. And if people aren't getting that from their box or their situation, that's disappointing, because it really should be about joining the community, having a good time. I've done other things. I've been to other places. And, the term fit fam is a common word. You'll hear that word a lot. And I've gone to other styles of fitness, and we had fit fams, and they were friends. And some of them became true friends, but a lot of them were acquaintances. Yet when I got involved in CrossFit, I feel like wherever I was, I had real, deep, meaningful relationships. People that I can sit and talk with. There's people, at TriForce that I've had conversations with that are fairly deep, that I don't even talk to that much, but they feel that they can talk to me and I can talk to them. And it's almost, you build these relationships that, you have people around you that genuinely care and want to be supportive and helpful. So CrossFit to me, I've given the speech. I believe in 4 things: God, country, family, and CrossFit. I've said that 1,000 times. And it depends on the order that day to my children. So, because the fitness is phenomenal. I mean, the results are phenomenal. I've seen so many people do other things for years. And I look at them, I'm like, it's great. And there's no knock to somebody who gets up and does whatever they do. If you get up and your thing is going for a walk every day, I'm not going to begrudge you. But what CrossFit will give, and for me, without the good community, I won't continue to do it.
Yeah.
So I need that. And I think that that's really something that's such a great thing for people to get. But I do think you have to go, right? The first thing you have to do, and I tell people if I talk to people, I tell them, you're going to be sore the first 4 weeks, sitting down. And hey, when you don't go regularly for a while and you come back, when you're working out all the time, yeah, your body is sore. Yeah, your body is tired, but it's not I have to hold on to the toilet seat to sit down pain. It's a different level of pain. So when you go from 0 to pushing your body, it's a different level of soreness. So it's almost like you got to survive that soreness, come regularly, start to feel good, and then get involved. And hopefully you have people in your class that want to get involved with you, or coaches that want to get involved with you, or owners that want to get involved with you. I mean, that's where you guys have been, phenomenal in that you treat it. I see how much effort you put into every person. And I think that's what, when I first met you guys, what I appreciated the most, because obviously it's different. We had 3 women and there's a lot of friends, but I know what it is to run a small business. I know what it is to try to make people happy. And I see all the interactions you have with all these people, and you treat them all genuinely like every single person matters, no different. The best athlete isn't any more important than the worst athlete. And that's really how it is, because they're all people, right? And you go to some boxes and it's not that, right? You're new, you're old, you're not great, and they don't even look at you. So that's not a place I want to be, because for me, CrossFit is 8 to 80, right? I've enjoyed the adaptive stuff, and me and Monica, we took a course and we've watched videos, and because it really is for anybody. And I think that goes back to that other thing about getting hurt. People are afraid of it. I still hear, I have local, friends, and you'll hear if you go to CrossFit, you're going to hurt yourself, and I look at a lot of people and it's like, if you don't pick something up and put it down, you're going to lose muscle mass. That's just how I look at it. And as I'm getting, I hate to use this term, later in life, you see a lot of people who won't pick something up and put it down anymore. So I love fitness and hate fitness. And what I mean by that is there's always something better. There's always something newer. Let's intermittent fast. Let's keto. Let's do this. And I feel like all that information, even in fitness itself, I'm going to spend an hour and a half on a on a treadmill a day, yeah, you'll lose weight, you'll lose all your muscle, and then what are you going to do, right? So you see, I always said it was the potato chip theory. So you weigh a certain amount of weight, you lose, now you put the weight back on, right? So you put muscle back on, you'll lose it again.
Hold on, Joe, you cut out. So go back to your potato chip theory.
My potato chip theory.
But
say it again.
It didn't cut out for me. I was letting Chris know, but okay. I think it's okay to start over because Chris's computer's the driver. So
my potato chip theory on weight losses, and I've lost, Megan, I love you, and you've given me a lot of great information, and I try to use it, but I am not the best nutrition person. As we know, we'll have conversations. We had one recently about what's the best bite. And you said it's the first bite. And I said, you don't remember the first bite. It's the last bite. It's the only one you remember. So the potato chip theory is you weigh a lot, you lose a bunch of weight, so you get thinner, but you don't do anything while you're burning that weight. You're just doing cardio. So you get smaller, which a lot of people, the goal is, let's just get smaller, but you lost all that muscle. So now you stop doing all the cardio, you put the weight back on because your nutrition hasn't changed. You're not exercising anymore. Now you weigh more with less muscle. So you keep doing that, and over time, you have less and less muscle. So if you turn sideways, you're thin, but you're really wide. So you look like a giant potato chip. So yeah, you're smaller, but you look like a TV screen. That's my potato chip theory.
Wow. I've seen some potato chips actually.
I think if I can give advice to people who struggle with weight, and I guess I struggle with weight, and I don't even know if I struggle with weight. I don't even like that term. So here's one. You know what the term fat is? I've heard people say, don't call me fat. I'm not fat. You know what? We're all fat. It's a percentage of your body. It's just a body percentage. So let's get over this fat, not fat. It's just a body. It's a number. If you don't like the number, you want to get the number down a little bit, you work on getting the number down. But people get in their head with all of that, you know, as far as fat and not fat. I believe that the gym is the secret. To me, the gym is a secret. So if I'm going to the gym, I tend to eat better. But more so than that, being active, I feel good. Now, don't get me wrong. If you eat a bunch of crap food and you go to the gym, you feel like crap. Okay. But if my diet's not perfect, but I'm in the gym, I still feel good. I still feel healthy. You know, when I go to the doctor, my bloods are still good. You know, I am carrying too much weight, but my bloods are still good. I am healthy. I feel good. Why is that? Because of the exercise. So to me, people just need to not let that slide. Now, obviously, you got to watch nutrition. And I'm not saying to eat in fast food and work out. That's not what I'm saying. But I think we get so hung up in food. It's overwhelming. And for me, it's pretty simple. Just be active. If you're active, you'll probably have a fairly healthy life.
Yeah. So, what I hear you saying is finding the thing that helps you move and stay moving is pretty important for everybody. And I'm 100% on board with that. So for you, it's CrossFit or group exercise. I am 100% on board with making sure that people are getting a variety of exercise. That's why resistance training is so important along with cardio. That's why CrossFit's awesome, is because it's both. But it's easy for people to delay on starting something because they're looking for the perfect thing and finding the perfect thing. What's the quote? Who was it that said, poorly executed plan. What is it?
Yeah, planning, failing to plan is planning to fail.
Sure.
One.
Okay.
So,
and then like poorly executed, poorly planned, whatever. Just do something instead of not doing something is really the important thing. So it's better to do something that's good than not doing something that's perfect. So
yeah, movement for everybody, but I guess wife owned, but being involved in CrossFit, as long as I have, and not as a sales pitch, I just don't understand why you wouldn't. Really, I don't understand why you wouldn't. If there's people around you who support you and you're having a good time and the workouts are scalable, and you know, your level method that you use, I think is that perfect scalableness. You know, if you're a new person, you don't have to come in and feel overwhelmed. You can start here. You have goals built in. If you're a goal-oriented person that you want to get to that next level and that next level, I've never been that. I mean, I do have certain goals, but as far as that, you know, I'll hit the whole spectrum. You know, if it's things that I can do better, I might be on a higher side, and if things I struggle, I might be on a lower side and blend it together. But I think having that level method for people that would walk in, I don't understand why you wouldn't CrossFit. I'm sorry. You know, I know we're supposed to tell everybody, and I know we do. It's great to move, and everybody should move. And I said the same thing. But at the end of the day, I don't know why you don't CrossFit. I don't know why you wouldn't want to come to CrossFit.
It's too expensive.
I mean, that's the comedy in that is how many places you want to hit that on. I mean, I don't know. What's your hobby? How cheap is golf in a month? How cheap is fishing in a month? About the gamblers, how much you spend in a month gambling, right? So you can go on that approach. You can go on, what does it cost you to be sick? You know, a couple $100 a month to me for a hobby that I enjoy. And if this is the longevity of my life to be with my children, when people, and not every, obviously people have different budgets, and there are some people that really have to make conscious decisions to make that happen. But there's a lot of people that don't, and the people that do, you're making that decision, and you know, if it fulfills you for so many other or some other number, why is that so much better? Because I just don't see it. I just don't see it as being expensive, and I never did. You're getting so much one-on-one attention. It's small group. You know, you're getting so much for your value for your money. And I never felt like CrossFit was expensive. That was never a driving force to keep me out of CrossFit. The only thing that kept us out of CrossFit from the beginning was the intimidation factor of the quote unquote, you're going to get hurt kind of stuff. And I wished I found it sooner, because I did other things that I enjoyed, but I never enjoyed nearly as much. I never saw the results the same way. You know, being out of CrossFit the last couple, here's a perfect example. We moved here in 2019. When we moved here in 2019, that was June. I weighed about 210, and I'm 5'7", so that's morbidly obese, guys. But at 210, 5'7", I felt great. You know, I was just coming out of CrossFit. You know, I could probably do 6-8 strict pull-ups. So I felt good. But that summer, Addie, our daughter, had some struggles, and I ate. So 20 pounds went on in like 2 months. That's how I deal with stress. Guys, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do anything else. Okay. So I ate. I was 230. I was wearing 34-inch pants at 5'7", 230. 2 years later, I find myself about 230, wearing 38-inch pants. What's the difference? I was coming off 3 years of CrossFit, so I was way more muscle. Consistent, strict, 5 days a week CrossFitting. I was way more muscle in that same 230 as I am now. 4 inches difference in a pant size, to me, is insane, and shows you what the results are of doing it, of being just consistently working out. You know, it's funny, we always joke in my house, we always say, I wish I was as fit as I was when I thought I was fat. We say that all the time in this house. And the problem with that is, I think we all struggle a lot with not appreciating where we are. I think that's a huge struggle for so many people. You know, enjoy the little wins. I might be young Mira, and my wife thinks I'm special. Like, because if I feel good, I feel good, you know, so back in the gym and feeling good, just work out, be in the gym, enjoy yourselves. You know, if anybody ever watches this and needs somebody to come with them, you get 2 weeks out of me, whatever time slot, even the 5:30 a.m. I'll get up 2 weeks. So I love new people. I love to see people get involved because it's life changing. It really is life changing. And fitness is, but CrossFit really was. Like for me, 6 years ago, it was like a defining moment of really just loving going to the gym. Before that, I had fun. It was great, but it was just so different. And I remember so much, like, so many PRs, other people's PRs, watching Megan get, a clean that she got or a deadlift, or Alyssa, getting her first bar muscle up, like there's so many things that like I remember for myself and other people. There's just so much that you can get from it. And I just wish more people would find their way in.
So I'm going to do something that change things up a little bit. So normally I like to ask our guests what their real life superpower is. Instead of doing that, I'm going to ask Megan. Megan, what is Joe's real life superpower? And this is completely on the spot. She had no idea I was going to ask her.
I love it when you do this to me.
I know.
Joe's real life superpower. Gosh, I feel like he has a lot of them. I do feel like it has something to do with being able to, like, I'm trying to make the phrase a seat for every ass into a superpower. Like, I love the way, like you said, that you don't view it as like you have to be perfect. Like you get into whatever space and Chris, I wish you hadn't done this to me. Can you give me just like a second? Like, can you unmute yourself too, Chris? Now I can't even like hear you laughing at me. This is great. So what I'm trying to say is that like Joe's superpower is being able to, whatever he's going to get into, whether it be a business or a gym or a CrossFit or like, a neighborhood, like whatever it is, like he just jumps 2 feet in. And so I think that like a lot of people will kind of be a little bit hesitant for one reason or another. And I love the way that Joe just jumps 2 feet in on whatever he's doing. And I think that that's a superpower because like for him, failure is not an option. And so like he might not have success defined super clearly, which is okay, but failure is not an option. And so it's like, he's going to succeed. Like the fun part is figuring out like, how far is he going to succeed? There's no limit on how he can succeed or what he's going to succeed in, but he's in. And I think that it's cool because you bring other people along in that as well. And so like, whether that's in the gym where we see you bring in business. Like I remember when you guys first joined, like, class would end. I just finished coaching and I'm like, needing to jump onto something else. And you're like, have you thought about this? And like, we're an hour later and I'm still taking notes of things that I need to do better. And I'm like, yep, you're right. And so like, you guys gave us like really good help in business and like, brought us along in that. And then when it comes to being an athlete in the gym, like, we'll come to you with, hey, look at this PR. And you're like, that's it. You got more, you bring us along and, constantly getting better as an athlete. Like you said, like, having a family, there's ups and downs. There are real challenges to having fitness as an adult with a family and a job and, all the things that are in life. And I think that you're really honest and open about those challenges with everyone. And so you bring us along with you. And, and I think that is what makes you and Monica such an important part of our community is that you are willing to be 2 feet in. And even when you're struggling, you're open about it and you're honest about it and you bring people along in that process. And so, in your ups and downs, we're right there with you. And I think that is a superpower because I think that a lot of people are either afraid to jump in or they jump back out, or they have the ability maybe to do things for themselves, but they're afraid to bring other people into their successes and their failures. And you're not afraid of that. And I think that's your superpower.
Pretty good.
And I think that goes along with, like his never ending fitness journey, right? Like,
yeah,
because he's all in on, you're all in on whatever you do, Joe. Like you're not going to stop. The day you stop is the day you die, I'm pretty sure. So
pretty much. You know, it's funny that you say that. It's like, I think we jumped into your life. I don't even know if you knew we did what we did. It's like, yeah, we got this. It's fine. And we just kind of jumped in wherever we saw the opportunity. So I think that's just kind of how we are. Like if we care about someone or care about something, it's just, we just jump in. It's a really good one because that's kind of how we did it. Like with you guys, it was just like, I remember at the beginning, we just became fast friends. And me and you, Megan, I'd always go home and be like, I offended Harmonica. Because I would always, I just kind of say things and I don't, like sometimes they're rough. I just look at my guy and be like, I did it again. I tried not to today. But, you know, we knew how much you guys cared and how wonderful you were. And it was just like, we wanted to be in. Like we were going in one way or the other, whether you guys wanted it or not. And now you're my neighbor. So see,
yeah.
There you go.
I love it because like I think that it's a unique quality, right? Like we didn't necessarily like invite you in, but you were like, I can see that they need it and know that I needed like as much help as I needed, or I didn't know I needed to be cared about, like, you know, the way that you guys cared about us, like, and you guys just jumped in and you weren't afraid to do that, which I think is a very special and rare thing. And so we're super glad that you did. And I think like, that's the thing is like, sometimes I think that that's the sign of like somebody who really does care is being willing to say the hard things and the things that are offensive, you know, like you saw that I was trying, but that I was being, you know, I had a lot of things that I wasn't doing well. And you're like, hey, I see the effort that you're putting into it. Here's how you can do it better. Here's how you can be more effective. And like, then it's on me, right? Like, and so I think that I'm really thankful that you guys are you're willing to say the hard things. And I think that's another thing that makes you that never ending fitness journey. And that's part of your superpower for sure, is that you're willing to do those things.
You know, I think you have to have those people in your life that are willing to say what they think that you need to hear, even if it might make your relationship difficult. You know, you need people who are going to be truthful with you and be real with you. And I don't think we've ever been to, you know, that point because you guys are amazing. But with the business, I think I definitely poked and prodded and pushed. And I think sometimes there was a lot of pushback. And I would always say, if you don't like my opinions, throw them out, but I'm going to give them to you anyway. Right. Yeah. So that's kind of how we did it. And, you know, to see TriForce from the day I walked in, and I'm not there from the day one, you know, but to see it now, almost 3 years later, is worlds different. You know, it's so different, and it's so nice to be in the space and to see the businesses thriving and the members thriving and the community thriving, you know, and feeling like there's a space. What I like about it most right now is I feel like there's a space for everyone. Whether you're a 70-year-old grandmother coming in or you're a 22-year-old who wants to be really good at CrossFit, I feel like there's a space for everyone, which I think is phenomenal, because I think that's what the goal should be in a CrossFit box, is to welcome everyone into a place that they can have a community, have friends. And I also think it's great when you have the 70-year-old grandmother and the 22-year-old working out side by side and creating relationships. One of the things that I always thought was amazing about CrossFit is the relationships that you make with people you would never make those relationships with if it wasn't inside of a box. You know, maybe different cultures, nationalities, religions, politics. Inside of a box, it's always been a safe space for people to be together. And I think what you guys have built is that.
And I also appreciate too, like, I think you lead from the front in that you don't have an ego, right? Like you like to have fun, you like to push yourself, but like you said, you'll share a bar with me, you'll share a bar with, you know, anyone in the gym. And sometimes that's more than what you want to do. And sometimes it's less than what you want to do for the day. Sure. There,
100%.
Always, you know, just for yourself, which I think is huge.
100%. You know, I think people, and not everybody needs to be that. Look, you're paying money to go. You deserve to be able to go and just do your thing. But I've been put on the earth to be a servant. Like, that's my word. So how can I serve? So if that's how I can help in the boxes help the box grow, make people feel welcome. I'm not doing a great job of it today. Like I have internal feelings of how I feel, and it's getting back there. And I, like there's a sweet spot for me, and I'm not there yet, but it's coming back, and I'm excited about that.
Yeah. So I think it was said, everybody needs a Joe, and so if you guys are at TriForce already, seek Joe out, have a conversation with him. He will quickly know all the intimate details of your life, including your bank account number and
Social Security.
Social Security, yeah.
Blood type.
But I mean, like there's like TriForce would not be what it is today if it wasn't for Joe and Monica. And there's lots of members that we can say that about, but specifically Joe and Monica have helped us become who we are as Megan and Chris, but also as TriForce. And so we really appreciate you guys.
It's been a blast.
Yeah. We'll have Monica on separately sometime. Joe and Monica do frequently make appearances together. She might be right beside him right now. I can't.
She was for a little bit, but she left.
Okay. So, it's their family hobby. It's their couple thing that they do together, which is like me and Megan. Like I don't like working out anymore if it's not with Megan. So, before we go, Joe, I think one question that I want to get from you, or answer I want to get from you, is if there's somebody out there that is been putting off their own fitness, like just for whatever reason, kids or family or work or whatever the thing is that's gotten in the way, what would you say to them? How would you encourage them to go ahead and start investing in themselves and, maybe join TriForce or, join wherever they're at, so that way they can be working on them?
No, I'm glad you asked that question, because it was actually one of the things I wanted to talk about. And it's obviously there's lots of things running through my brain. We all raise children, and we all want our children to have the best lives. Again, don't have me talk about my kids, I'll cry. So we all want our kids to have these best lives. But then when we hit an age, 30, 35, forget 40 and above, we stop living in a lot of ways because we now have to live for them. So you'll see parents who are taking their kids to gymnastics and basketball and all these things, but they don't do anything for themselves. They're not having that joy anymore. They're not being involved. So my question for those people is, you love your children so much that you'll do anything for them. Do you want them to hit that same age as you and stop doing for themselves? And the answer is no. You want your kids, when they're that age, to still have vibrant, fun, active lives. It can't just, maybe this is bad parenting, and maybe Joe, who's not selfish, is selfish. Maybe I am. But if I don't take any time for me and the things that I want to do and I enjoy doing, I'm not sure how good I can be as a parent to them. And I think I think that's common sense, but I think it gets lost. So people stop, they hit an age and they just kind of stop moving. I think there's a lot of men that are even worse. Like you'll see women that worry about their figure, lose weight, it's all that nonsense I talked about earlier. But like, you see a lot of guys just stop. They don't play anymore. They used to go play football. They used to go play soccer. They hit an age, or, oh, my knees are bad, or this is bad. We didn't even talk about pain and PT and all of that stuff. We could go for another 20 minutes, because you see these people that just say they're old and broken and it's done. I'm going to be 49. And my joke is I hope to die at 89, face down in a rubber mat in some sweaty gym somewhere. Like, that would be a good life. That would be a great way to go. Sorry for the owner. Hopefully not you, Chris. So, it's like you see people who just stop wanting to do something. So if you're thinking about it, it's like you're missing out. There's so much you're missing out on. It's like so many people struggle in so many ways nowadays, mental health and stuff. And if you ask me my superpower, I'll be really quick. It's self-talk. About 5% of my life, I'm negative. The other 95% of my life, I am Superman. I've had this conversation with you recently, Megan. It's like, I think I'm great. Am I? I don't know. When I lose a few pounds and I'm flexing in the mirror, it's like, I think I look great. There's days where in business, you made a mistake, you did something stupid. Yeah, look at the big picture. find that perspective. I weigh more than I would like right now. I haven't been in the gym. I've never seen the weight I was at 25 years old. I've eaten way better for decades now. The amount of movement I've had in the decades has been tremendous in comparison. So is that not success? Yeah, to me, that's success. I can microcosm this little moment and say, today, maybe I'm not as successful. So for people, I think you got to get back to finding the happiness and the joy and all the things that you can get out of life, because it is short. Life is not long.
I would say that's your superpower, like you said, is perspective. That would be really good, because that's something that you often have really good perspective.
So when I was very young, I had a situation where I was talking to my mom and I just said something to her. And I went, wow, I am stupid. And from that day on, and I had another friend of mine who always used the analogy of, if you're in hand-to-hand combat, you're at war, you are in close quarters. But if you took the helicopter view and looked down, you may realize you're not in the same danger you think you're in. And just having that perspective, I think, has been huge for my own life. Slowing down, finding the perspective, seeing the situation you're in, and making the best out of it. So for me, self-talk's always been a really good one for me. And I don't want to get out of that what I get out of CrossFit. So for people who are thinking about joining, I don't understand how people could not join. It's not even fathomable to me, because what's the option? What's the option? More medicine, more aches and pains. I'm going to get hurt, going to CrossFit. You're going to get hurt sitting on the couch, right? When you're out of shape, you hurt yourself anyway. You're in just as much pain. I'd rather be sore because I did something than sore because I didn't do something. So I don't understand. For me, it really is a struggle why people won't join. You have members with severe injuries that are coming back. You've had people in all kinds of situations. You'll hear people say, well, I can't because I have a bad whatever. And it's just we'll modify, we'll figure it out, we'll work through it. You can still be involved, you can still be active, you can still get gains, you can still feel good. So why give up the entirety of your life because you have a bad knee?
Yeah. We like to say, choose your hard.
Choose your hard. Yeah, it's true. 100%.
Awesome. Well, I think, Joe, you'll have to be a repeat visitor on the show at some point. We'll have you back on for round 2, because there's many more topics we could dive into that will help people. And again, that's your goal as, like you said, your word servant. That's our goal in helping our community become more healthy, fit, and confident, is just finding ways to encourage people to be healthier, be more fit, be more confident. So awesome, brother. Well, any last words for us before we head out?
No, it was a blast, like I expected. I just wish I was in air conditioning like you two are. I'm roasting. I'm outside. You look comfy. I am sweating like I was in a workout.
It seems like you could have gone inside, but
the kids are inside, so it's quiet.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you being outside then. Awesome, Joe. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in for this episode. Find Joe at the gym. Come work out with him. He'll be looking forward to working out with you guys.